Good day, everyone. Today we are going to talk about the second part of the series about the agent code. On our first session, we have discussed about how to create the simple agent, how to do the deployment, and we went through the notebook and we have given example, and we went through the step-by-step process. How do we build an agent? How do we package it? And we discussed about the agent core runtime. If anybody not gone through it, I highly recommend you guys to go to this channel and go to Data Ops Labs. And this is the first agent we created, and we use the agent core. And here we have detailedly discussed about how are we going to create an agent core step by step, and what is the current challenges, and what are the components in agent core. And we also touched upon how to do how to develop the using a Strands core agent and how do we deploy to the runtime. We walk through step by step. These are the steps we have covered last time. We created an environment using a Strands and we deployed it locally and we tested it and we created a couple of tools. Then we tested it locally using a agent code CLI and we moved this to use IAM role and we moved this to the production. Okay. So we went through the clear documentation. Okay, step-by-step instruction you can follow from here. And everything is here. All the information, including the agent code samples we used, everything was here. Feel free to have a glance at it. If you have any questions, feel free to post a comment and let me know if you need more information. Thank you. Now let's switch gear to the next session. I've given a brief background because it's been a month. So that's why I want to give a brief. Okay. On today's session, right? Let me go and show my notebook, which I want to cover it today. This we were deploying using a agent code, but as well as we used to deploy using a starter agent toolkit. Okay. But there are multiple ways to create agents and do the deployment. Okay. I want to see what is the simplest manner using a tool like Agentic IDE, how to develop. Okay. So I will take three demos today. First demo, I want to walk through how normally we can use the Bedrock Agent Core Starter toolkit. How do we package quickly? Here, I install the Agent Core Starter toolkit. Now I created a simple agent. This is a simple agent I created. See, this is what the entry point where whenever you are making a call, it will invoke this payload. So I created a file called myagent.py. It is here. It's created. I ran it. It's created. Fantastic. And then I ran this information, requirement.txt file. I created it. Post creating, I try to deploy it locally. First step I do is I run this file. Okay. Python myagent.py. What does it do is it will start the local 8080 port where we can test this. Okay. So you can do this testing. Okay, I can use a terminal. That is much better. Okay. So you can see I have given local. Well, tell me about reinvent 2020 the highlights. Now, when I give it, the request will come towards here. So this is the response you're getting it. Okay, when I'm launching this from the UI, this is the response you're getting it. So you can see the response from the agent file also. Is that okay? Okay. Whatever I'm running now, it's all running locally. See, this is what happened. It given you the invocation ID, but it is not deployed. It's very simple way to create agent. Just 6 lines of code, you can do it. But the big challenge, right? How are we going to do the production? That's where the big challenge comes. That's what we will be able to address using agent code configure. Now, I'm giving the file. It is asking, do you want to create a role? I can say yes. And it need to create a ECR repository. I said yes. And it asks, do you want to use the same file or you want to use a different file? It first look for a requirement.txt. It take a requirement.txt file, and I no need to OAuth or I no need to currently think about allow custom header and all. For now, I said no. In future session, while we are connecting with AWS memory, I have created few memory for other use case, but here I would say skip the memory. So that's it. Now it's launched. See, this is a file it is created. Okay. So very quick step, you build the agent, test it locally. You can configure the agent with your runtime file, it and then launch. It automatically create a file. This file is something like a normal YAML file, which has a required information. So it given a agent code, it's creating a ARN, and we kept memory as a false, and it automatically create execution rule, it automatically create a repository, everything. Now I just need to do agent core launch. So it launch, it automatically taking a file and automatically reflecting it. And since it's already created, it may create a new version. I think so. Let's go and check on AWS console. So this is the first demo I want to walk through. This code is very simple. You can see it's 5 lines of code. Means we import the library, we import the Strands agent, and we just use our runtime entry point to do it. That's it. It automatically created. Fantastic. Let me go and check with the agent run. So once run, we can do the validation. So how do we do the validation? You can do the validation like this. So it create a session. This is the ARN of the agent runtime. You can see this is the agent runtime. It is created. I just want to see the response. Okay, fantastic. It is automatically created. And you can do this. You can test from the CLI also. So previously we were testing using a local. Look at this. Previously we were using a local call. Now same prompt. Hello. Can you explain major reinvent 2023 announcement on GenAI? It's just like this. Okay, let's run this from here because it update the ARN. So here, this is on a different folder. Okay, if you look at it, this is a different folder. It need this information to identify which ARN need to be called. See, each major announcement is coding assistant, Sun 2023, and the trainium announcement. Okay, fantastic. Now let's go and see in the UI. So let's go to the agent code console. This is a new agent I deployed. Go to agent runtime. We recently deployed. You can see this is my agent we created. This is what I'm saying, guys. It is very easy to do the testing locally using agent core and apply to the production. Now, let's go to the next use case. Is this the only way to create an agent? I'll give you a very good option how we can create an agent in a scalable manner. So let me tell you how the layered approach work. This is what I want to explain to you, this layered approach. I'm going to you introduce Kiro. Kiro is a agentic IDE. So anybody not done, go to the Kiro download. Kiro download. So go Kiro download, whatever the version, you can download it. And you can join us a waitlist where you can get the API key where you can install the agent for your meter. Now, let's go to our, we want to use Kiro, MCP, Strands, and Bedrock AgentCore to deploy the end-to-end application. Now we just created a simple application, but how we can create agents using a Strands and how do we deploy to the Bedrock AgentCore using the prompts. That's like the exact demo I want to show you today. So Kiro, if you're not being looked at it, Kiro is more like a agentic IDE, and they have a intuitive way to integrate with MCP, and you can develop your application in more uh, uh, s- proper project driven or spec driven development. Okay, we will see all those information today. Agent core, I think we guys already discussed on the last session. The agent runtime we touched upon briefly there. And the future session, we're going to touch upon gateway, memory, observability, and other things. But this is what we are going to do today. We are going to build the multi-agent orchestrator, financial advisory agent. It's not a single agent. Previously, we created a single agent, but we are going to create a multiple agent. There are four agents in this. One is the market intelligent agent, which connect whenever we are giving a prompt. First, this agent will invoke, get into the internet. We are using the library called DuckDuckGo tool, and you go to the internet, retrieve the data on the last 7 day information, and then send it to the strategic architect agent, which will identify any risk involved on anything on a multiple time there is on, or particularly if it is 7 days, it will see whether any risk involved. Then we give you the roadmap based on your risk and how do you want to execute your stock which you want to pick in a clear information. So this is the flow we want to execute. This agent I want to create without much of coding. That's the objective. Let's go to the step-by-step information. This is a step-by-step information. Okay. And before that, I want to talk about spec. During this demo, I'll talk about spec, who, steering, how this complete spec-driven approach help us to develop the simple POC into the production-grade application. I'm going to walk you through in this step-by-step process. Stay with me. Before that, you can go to the GitHub. I'll update this information in the YouTube. You can take a look at it. So here, this is the information I want to follow. 1 minute. Okay. Finance. All the informations are here. You can download, you can validate all those things. Okay. Let me check my, is it up to date? 1 minute, 1 minute. Checking. Okay, read me information as up to date information. Okay. Spec to deploy. We are using Kiro, Strands, and Agent Core. How do we do the deployment? First thing, set up the MCP. Go here. in the Kiro, there is something called MCP. You can anytime click on it and edit. And this is a list of MCP servers you can add. You can add an MCP server. I added 3 MCP server, Strands agent, AWS documentation, as well as Bedrock AgentCore. These are all the agents I started. If I click on it, it will automatically enable. Let me show you guys how we can quickly add. Let me go and go to the MCP AWS documentation. If you go here, this is a list of MCP server here. If you go infrastructure, you can see everything. Now, let's say you want to find some MCP server diagram. Just say like this diagram. Okay. Documentation, integration, cost and operation. Okay. Where is the diagram? Diagram developer tools. Okay, MCP diagram. So this is what you need to add. So what you can do, simply copy this, come here, and you can add here, or I will find some easy hack. Okay, I'm such a lazy guy. I'll come, click on it. Amazon. Okay, literally authenticate. Hope it authenticate fast. Now access. Good. Now, separate. So click on this new session. If you can have a Amazon queue also here, but I'm going to use let I close everything so it will be easy for you guys to look at it. Close all. Fantastic. Zero. Here, I click on Vibe, add to MCP. Kiro. Listing, MCP list. Just come here. You can create a new session. There are 2 sessions. One is Vibe, another one is a spec. And I've just wiped this for our normal interaction. So what does it do is it just automatically understand our MCP information and it automatically add. So if we go click on it, you see there is one more MCP server it is going to add. Great, generate diagram, get diagram, list icons, all those information set up. That's very simple. We added 3 documentation. Why we created this Strands document is to create a Strands agent. And the second document is to connect to the agent core. Okay. And use this information to deploy. Of course, AWS documentation is always good to have. So I just add the documentation as an MCP server. First step, this is the first step I did. The second step, right? Manual prototype in a Strands. I think like we are creating some kind of single shot learning. I created the manual notebook here. So I'll explain you what I created in this notebook so you will have better understanding. This notebook is already there. You can always look at this notebook in the GitHub. So install the Strands agent and Strands tool. Next one, I created a simple agent to say hi, hello using a Nova model. Just explain the same way we have seen in a previous demo, right? Response agent, tell me the joke. Good. The third agent I do is I want to do some tools, whether how my tools are working. So I created a tool called weather and I created imported the weather a tool called calculator and I giving the prompt, your help assistant, give me the call, you can help on a calculation and the weather. But my prompt is towards weather. The moment I give a weather, it automatically choose the weather as a tool and given me the response. So I now know, okay, good. I know how to create this one. At the same time, I try to do the calculation using a calculator agent also, directly using a agent.tool calculator and give this information, it'll give you the calculation. Good. Now, this section, I want to use the model which I plan to use on a cloud model. I want to check whether I have all the access to the cloud model. I tested it, I have access. This is what I want to go into use. I'm using a DuckDuckGo library. Okay. I install the DuckDuckGo library. I created a tool called web search. Okay. I created a tool. Then I created a new agent called NBA News Agent using the model. This is the model going forward I'm going to use. I'm saying that you are a news bot, specialized news agent focused on league, in the sports league, especially NBA, and use the web search tool to find the current news and article. So I'm using the tools. The reason I want to use this agent, right? Recently, on October 3, there is announcement happened. NBA made an agreement with the Amazon Prime and AWS that they are going to 11-year contract where they're going to telecast all the NBA into the Prime. So this is a very latest news. I don't want to check whether the model is using the internet data to do it. I did it recently, just a week before. So it did when I given a prompt of say that share recent news about AWS and Amazon Prime with NBA and also list the service. So it went and invoked the tool, taken the latest information. See, it's just to say 4 days ago. Okay. And it given me the multi-year partnership. They're going to use the SageMaker and Bedrock. All the information it is showing. Not only NBA, it is using WNB also. So I know how to create an agent. I know how to create a tool. I know how to integrate my agent to tool. I made a working solution. Perfect. Now, what I did is went and click on spec and I given the prompt, very, very simple prompt. I said, build a 4-step multi-agent adversary using agent. Okay. And I asked them to create the agent, data analyst agent, trading analyst agent, execution analyst, and risk agent. Please make sure that you through this one information. So I copied this and click on it. Okay. What I did is I just click add file to chat. Okay. So 1 minute, you can say add file to chat in this manner. So I'm literally adding the file. If you look at it, it added the file, whatever the file I given, it added the file here. So it added a file. Okay. Now, once I click on it, I click on enter. The moment I click on enter, it is using a steering. Since I already created the steering document, it's already there. I will explain you what a steering document. It is going to create a spec file for me. If I go, this is a new spec file it is created. Since I already done, it's already there. But look at it. This is creating a requirement.txt file newly. Okay. It created 3 files in a spec requirement, design, and task. How we usually do, right? So the same way it will follow. See, it started creating a requirement file. I haven't done anything. It just created a proper user story, how we follow our agile mechanism to create a proper waterfall or agile mechanism, how to do the development, right? Creating a proper user story. Okay. With all the conditions. It just given a simple prompt. Look at it. It created all those things. Now I say, okay, I can say refine my requirement. It will ask requirement look good. Can we move to the design? Okay, all we need to spend some time here. If you want to change user story or anything, you can make a changes and test it. Okay. We can say, can you revise my requirement user story maximum of 4? Just look at it. If I add, what does it do? it revises requirement.txt file. Okay. If you don't want to do, it just revise the requirement to have maximum 4 user stories. Good. Now you can see 1, 2, 3. Okay, let me see. Still it is updating. It says, okay, it is asking me. I said yes. The moment I said yes, it is revising max of 4 user stories. It take time. I will try to squeeze this information as much as possible, but I want you guys to see how it is, how much time it is taking also. And it will create that requirement file first, then design, and then task. Okay, let's wait. Look at it. Requirement. Okay, good. So it is given all the information. Do you requirement? Do you want to move to design? It is asking, can we move to design? Said yes. See, we have a human in a loop on all the critical decision making. Okay, when you do the requirement, you can always refine the requirement. When you want to do the design, you can always do the design. Okay, so this session, that's what I want to explain you. Beyond the sample program we write, we can slowly ideate our sample program and see how fast we can use the Kiro spec-based development, MCP, okay, and how to use this spec-based development to do the end-to-end application development. Okay, do the requirement look good? Oh, requirement not came. Design came. Requirement, if you can move to design, yes, you can move to design. Okay. How we can, and just recalling, guys, design information created. So I don't see the design information. Okay, let's create it. Since the steering file, I'll explain you what is steering file. I already have it is using the steering file. I can go delete it also, not a problem. Well, it's a Kiro spec steering. I can delete. Okay, let it run. I want the design to be created. So if I look at the one which I already created, this is a requirement. It's created a 10 user stories. Then it created a design. This is a detailed design information it has created. What are all the design it need to create? It created a proper data model, and it use what agent need to be used, how the agent to be calculated, and all those information to create it for me design. It given in the architecture also. If you go, I can view this information in a preview. You can see properly. See, this is what it has done. It is automatically planning coordinator for for only the data analyst agent, or the it is going to do the deck search. Rest and all will be using within a state. It will search, so share the state to maintain the memory information between the model. Okay, between the agents. Okay. So this is a design document it created. Now let's see our prompt. What does it created? Okay, it's look at it. It automatically created the specialist agent and Dr. 2. Here it is just maintaining the state. Okay. Okay. Fantastic. Okay. Data analyst agent, trading strategy agent, execution planning agent, and risk analysis agent. So one orchestrator will be there. Okay. Great. This is how you said. Okay. That's it. It is asking, can we move to the implementation? Yes. Don't create more than 4 tasks, which is needed for basic MVP. Now it is going to create the task. Meanwhile, I'll give you guys what is this, how the task going to look like. Then preview. So it is going to, this is a high level task. It's given 1 to 2.15. It created test case, everything. So my experience in this, right, it's create a lot of test cases and it take a lot of time when it is creating the test cases. I have took some time in my GitHub repo, right? I have moved all this information into this code, something called uh, finance advisor test scripts. Under the test scripts, you can see flurry of test scripts it's created, but you guys always can skip. That's why I intentionally given this one. Say that why don't you create the this one? Only not maximum of 4 steps because it's so here it is created more than 10 steps. It taken some time for me to run it all. But you can even correct it by hand. But if you don't want to correct it by hand, if just to mention that how much, if you want to have only stick with your MVP, tell this information. It automatically create the implementation plan according to your prompt. Okay. It's looks like it's created. Does the design look good? Is it? Is it created? Yes. I don't know. That's going to create again. Maybe it is waiting for my prompt. So with this information, it automatically created a notebook for me. That is my notebook. Yeah, this is my notebook. Okay, let me run this notebook. This notebook was created before. I just want to run this notebook for you guys so that you can do the testing. So it automatically created everything. Look at it, it's created as Strands, agent tool, and it is a DuckDuckGo. It's look at this. This is completely created by it. Market intelligence agent. It is using call web search and the strategic agent also using web search, execution planner agent, risk assessment agent, everything. Okay. Here we have to give a ticker. If in a prompt, if you're giving a ticker like Amazon, Tesla, or anything, it automatically run through. Okay. And it based on the input, it automatically delegate to each agent is acted as a tool. And we have a proper coordinator. If you look at it, this is a financial coordinator agent, which is orchestra agent. We're telling these are all the agents tool you can call. And this is a model you can use invoke to do it. And let me run it. Fantastic. Now I have given my ticker as Amazon. Okay. So I'm invoking, I can tune this also. Okay, if I can say 14 days, all those things we can do. And we have to give a strategy. My risk attitude is moderate and horizon is medium term. And strategy is I want to reduce the token with generating. But if you want, you can keep it as more. But let's create it as a very less. If I run, it is using a web search information. It take time for this to look at it. It is taking all those information. Okay. Stock performance, analyst outlook, and it is giving the price. These are all latest price. Okay. And it is automatically go checking the information. Which agent is doing that? Okay, we can see this information observability, but I'm telling the Strands is automatically creating it. So let's wait for this implementation plan. If you go, there is some task. You can click on this and run the task. Automatically, it will execute. Okay, if you there is a word called start task. If you click on start task, it automatically start this task. Okay, this is how I end-to-end completed the code. I not done any hand code changes. And one thing I found, right? This is automatically create a spec, design requirement, then design and task, and did this end to end. And I shown you the notebook and the response, how it response is looking like. Okay. Still it is going on. Scroll a moment. Okay, yeah, no, it's okay. Let's show. Okay, this is what happened once I. It's still it is checking the because it's go in a sequential. It do all the analysis and it'll send it to one by one agent back and it do the complete validation. Okay, so it's perfect. Now I have created a code. How does this code automatically created? It's all started with our first step, adding the right MCP server. This information have a search dog and fetch dog, which once we created a sample code and given that as an additional context, and the using a Kiro spec-based development, it we can just give the prompt. It automatically created the specification. Okay, it automatically created a requirement, design, and task, and we executed all the task, which quickly created everything. Let me close all the things so that it will be okay. 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 So these are that every task, right? Whenever the task completed, it'll give you what summarize of the task and it'll update the state of the task. Okay. It's like updating your age. This is a agentic AI feature, right? Whenever there is a one execution completed, it will update locally. So this will be easily able to maintain it. So it's like adding a memory to the IDE agent saying that you guys, this is a task list of tasks we have and this task you have completed. Now I'll go to the Kiro. This is a Kiro. Okay. This is a spec. Now something called agent hook. I'm making a lot of changes in my notebook. Okay. Or if I create any sample book, it will create a lot of changes in my notebook. Whenever our Python file, whenever the Python file is changes happening, I want this to be updated to the GitHub. So hook or any repeated task, right? Any repeated task, click on it. You can type it, okay. Whenever I update readme, update the develop branch. If you enter, just this is a repeated task, right? We do. If you just click on enter, it understand the information and create a new agent hook here. Okay. Like that, I created a three node. See, this is what it is. Readme. I can disable it. So you have option. Automatically, it automatically understand which file it is, whether file created or deleted or any manual trigger done. See, this is the file. You can add any file you want. So this is a repeated task. Okay, we can do it. The important thing I did is a security review. I given a prompt. This is the prompt I given. Whenever I'm doing any, make sure that I update a document. Whenever I'm committing the code, there is no API key and there is no password in this or no IP or account information I mentioned. This one I given as a hook. So whenever I'm committing the changes, it won't update the GitHub in case of any of the security vulnerability was found. So this is comes under the scope. Specs we have seen how about the requirement, design, and task. Hooks we seen, and then steering. Steering is more specific to your organization. So if you want to create a web application, follow the certain guidance, you can do this one. And end-to-end project. This is my end-to-end project goal I want to do it. So you can keep all those information here. Okay. Where it will it's completely structure your product, how it end-to-end product look like. Okay. You can find tune as MVP1, MVP2 in your specs. Okay. And I want to deploy this in agent core. That is my final requirement. Okay. I put it in my product. Okay. And structure how the API look like, how the front end need to look like, how what is your recommendation, everything you can do define it here. Okay, it automatically create it. So this steer the spec whenever creating any new requirement, right? This will steer your Kiro, make sure it aligned to your enterprise standards. So let's go to our next step. So we discuss about the code we ran through it. We created the 2000 limits and ran through the notebook. Then we checked on hooks and security validation. Now I want to deploy this to the production. This is a prompt I want to use. I have then like how the creation done using the financial advisor multi-agent. It use requirement, design, and task to build the agent. Now I want to deploy to the production agent. So I'm saying deploy the working IPNB file, go to production, trigger a deployment spec generation, and where it, I'm saying that use the Kiro to identify the agent code documentation using MCP documentation. So because in our MCP, if you look at it, we already have an agent code documentation also. All we need to do is, I have a working notebook. We tested the notebook. Say, add file to chat. Period. Okay. So how we did it before? Same way we can do this. So I convert it into the Python file. Now I say add file to chat. Okay, that's it. Now I can drag and drop. That's it. If I go click enter, it understand it first check on my our steering file, product documentation, structure, and tech. This is part of our requirement. It understand our thing, and it is creating a spec file under this. Okay, creating the array information. Okay. Oh, looks like it is already there. So it is going to look at this information. Fantastic. Wait. Spec agent code deployment. See, it created a design. Let me create a preview for you guys. Okay. So if you want to zoom it out, so it can see the requirement file. It automatically created financial advice multi-done to be deployed at agent core, and it created all the requirement. It see this is the app entry point we use, and this is the app run we use. It use a doc MCP server to get the documentation and create the proper requirement. Okay. So this first it tested with the local host acceptance criteria, then it used the invocation endpoint. Okay. Everything it given the details. Then this is about the requirement. Now go to the design. So it is using a SDK approach, agent core documentation, and it is converting this into the agent core. Look at it. This is the exact thing we did it in our sample application, right? So preserve it using all it creating all the agents, all the required library, everything it's creating. Okay. Then task. If you go to the task, it's for just creating a test core environment, and it will do the local test, and it do the validation on a payload. Okay. Creation of the deployment configuration. I just use a simple prompt. Everything here, everything is here. You just need to take this and do it. And what it does it do is it finally created a runtime deployment. Okay. So now all I need to do is I need to invoke the agent code. Okay. How I can use the launch, how we use the launch to do this one. Same way we will use the launch file to do this. Or we can go to the UI. Can go to the where is our UI agent core runtime. It automatically deployed here. We can go click on the version, go to the sandbox, click on my finance agent version and the payload. It's all the payload also in the history, in the documentation. I think, yeah, I given the payload information also. This is a complete spec-based development. Configure entry point. Okay, look at it. This is a prompt you can do. Like we were testing, right? But only thing is you need to be in that particular folder. So let's get that particular folder. Terminal, new terminal. Or you can test it from here. What is there in it? See, this is what I can done. I'm giving this information. Whenever I invoke, the agent core invocation happened. It is taking time because it need to call the agent core runtime. And you guys all know it's all serverless. So it is maybe the first time if you do that, the cold start will be there. So this way we can say we started a simple agent starter kit, how we do the deployment, what are the features we have in the strands. Then we use a Kiro, how the spec-based development help you to do the development end to end in a proper methodical manner. Okay. So I'm recapping. We created a small strands application and then we using a Kiro, first we added MCP server, then we created a simple strands agent. Then we added a simple prompt to the Kiro, which created a full end-to-end spec, requirement design, and task. Then it created an end-to-end financial advisory agent using its strands. And we want to leverage other options like a hooks and specs, and we have touched upon that. Post that, we taken some time to deploy the agent core, deploy the same Strands code application, which is a working solution, to the using a Strands agent core. We have to use a simple prompt which understand our working Python application. It automatically packaged it, validated it, and deployed it. And you can follow this instruction and you can test it and share me the feedback. Okay, and one of the guy who seen my demo recently, he really liked it and he said he will build a nice UI for this. Go ahead, fork it. If you're building a nice UI, share it with me. I'm happy to hear it. Meanwhile, I'm waiting for a response. It's taking time, but it will work for sure. Even I created a screenshot somewhere. Let me see whether I created a screenshot for that. Yeah, I created a screenshot somewhere. Maybe it's not here. No. Okay, here I think I would have given in the readme. Yeah. No, I missed it. Production ready. Okay, I missed the screenshot. I have created a screenshot. Yeah, here you go, guys. This is a screenshot I took. Now I said provide a brief testing the agent code. I given this information, agent core invoke prompt, and then it started in created a session ID, and this is the response you get it. And you see, this is the response we got. Now it is still, I'm waiting for the response, but this is how the response looks like. For the first time, it will take time. The further request, it will be fast. Or you can test this information uh, in your sandbox also. You can go to the observability, select the agent information which we have created. Agent session, agents. Let me only focus on this. Last 1 hour, I think it's already the session got invoked. Yeah, there is some error and throttles, but we don't know. We can check it. But this agent we tested before, right? Today we tested this. If I click on it, you can see the information, runtime, session, how much token it got generated, errors, latency span. If we are calling any tools, all those information will be shared here. I will go to the custom information, say last 3 weeks, and then go to my agent, 3 weeks. I can see this agent default. See, I have tested multiple times. This day I did a lot of testing. Yeah, I got some errors. For the first time when I ran it, I got errors, but I'm able to test it end to end. Okay. See, it is used the execute web search tool. Okay. And it given me the time it taken. Okay. for every activity, how much time it taken, it given all the traces and everything. Yeah, we will cover more detail about our how we do the tracing, everything in observability session. At high level, this is the information I want to share with you guys. So hope this session was really helpful for you guys, and you can take this and test it and share your feedback. Okay. So, yeah, this is a start time. Get started. Recent information also would have been there. If we've said, I will trace it out. Yeah, October 14th. Yeah. If we click on it, the trace summary invocation will start. This is the financial agent. Okay. I think we're getting some throttle at chat of the model. So it used the execution. Okay. I think it's still happening. So I give you every loop, every agent it call, all the information will be traced. We will go on the during observability, we go deep. So this is the response I got it for the Tesla. Okay. Because it need to share the state by state, right? And it will throttle with the 2000. That's one more reason, given the complete information. You can go if you want, pretty okay, you can, or you can use ChatGPT, okay, Orson, beautiful manner, okay. So this is what it created. I can prompt it out. Okay, let me see whether I can prompt it out in when we are building a UI. I can make it as a markdown file, or I can create a markdown file and put it in S3. Yeah, I can take this task next. Okay, guys, that's all I want to show you. Uh, Great. Risk assessment is very high. Okay. These are the information it looked at it. Okay. It used the SIG filing, it used the Tesla investor relation file website, and used the news website, everything information it used. Good guys, I think we are able to successfully demonstrate our use case. It's happy I able to share with you. Go ahead and take this, fork it out. I'll put it in a GitHub, fork it out, and try it yourself and share your feedback. Thank you.